Hey basketball coaches and players, in a previous video I explained how you can run a simple shell drill to basically teach your team how to play the box and one zone. Now in this video I'm going to give you some individual drills and some team drills that you can run to be able to become quick enough to be able to run the box and one zone, but also this will help your team be able to defeat box and one zones as well. So let's get down and let's check out these basketball drills. Okay, so I've got a couple of pylons out. I've basically got 5 pylons out in basically a 2-1-2 formation. Now, this is not to simulate a box and one. This is just to simulate ways of getting around a player, trying to escape a player. So what we are going to do is say the blue team is the offensive team and the red team is the defensive team. When the coach says go, or when the previous group finishes, we're going to have 2 players set up, one on offense, one on defense. And what we are going to do is essentially have the coach blow his whistle, and at that point we are going to go. And our main goal is to use each one of these pylons as a screen. One way that a lot of teams can beat a box and one zone is to be able to get around screens. So what we're going to do is have player 1 try to use each one of these pylons as a screen. And I don't just mean weave in between. No, that would be way too simple. We want to get our players shifty. We want them to shift back and forth, kind of like a football wide receiver trying to get open. So what we can teach our team is how to do a quick jab in the right or left direction and then jab back. So try to get player 2 to follow and then run back around that pylon, so that player 2 has to either go over top or underneath the pylon. And I would personally try to have my defensive player go over top and then catch up in front. We always want to try to stay in front of our defender. Now from there, when player 1 gets back or gets up to the next pylon, again, shift around. Will he go to this pylon or this one? It's totally up to him. He just cannot go back to the same pylon that he was at before, and he also cannot move backwards up the court. He can only move forwards or laterally as long as he hasn't been to that pylon yet. So if he tries to fake player 2 out and he sees that he has beaten player 2, then he can go to the next pylon and keep on going because player 2 is now in catch-up. Now, if player 2 is in catch-up from the first pylon, this is something that we need to teach our team. We need to get our team faster. So, another way that you can run is by getting rid of these pylons altogether and just to have our players laterally, as fast as they can, go from one side of the key to the other, defensive sliding, and back. Whistle. Who can be the fastest? And no, don't just go continuously back and forth. Just do one quick bang, bang. Who was the first person back? You're out. Next group goes. And try to go as fast as possible. If you're trying to understand what I'm saying, one individual drill that you can have is having 3 players up and say, hey, we're going to go there and back, shuffling. Whichever player can get back first, let's say player blue or blue 1 got back first, then it's left to these 2 and then you can keep on going. It's just a simple drill, lateral quickness drill. But let's say we got our players faking out and they're going. As soon as player 3 gets to this last line of pylons, we want player 3 to, again, still use that pylon, and then he's going to be popping out somewhere along this side. When he pops out, we're going to have the coach who's up at the point pass the ball to that player. If that player is wide open, he needs to take that shot. If he's not wide open, he can use one single pylon as a screen and then take a quick shot. That's it. Pass to the coach, go to the opposite line as you started, and now the next 2 players are in. Again, same thing. Fake one way, go the next. If he's already still beating that defender needs to get ahead of that player and get back to that next pylon. Again, same thing, fake out. If that player is still not faked out and he's still with him, he can run that defensive player into that next pylon and then get past the ball to him. Now, there's so many different ways of trying to get open using these pylons, but the main idea here is for a player to run up to a pylon, fake in one direction, and then go back in the next. Or fake, fake twice, and then back around. There's so many different ways that you could do this. Now that lateral quickness drill that I was briefly mentioning earlier, if you can get a line of players, have them defensive slide to the other side of the key and back, the first player back, let's say player 1 red was back first, he sits out. Next, we're going to do it one more time, there and back, as quick as they can. If player 4 blue got back first, he's sitting out. Now we're down to 4, there and back. And we're going to continue to go until we're down to just 2 players. Now, when we're down to 2 players, I really want to ask these 2 players what their punishment should be if they were the last player back out of the 2. So, let's say player 1 blue says the other player should do push-ups. And then this player says the other player should do squats. Then, we're going to say how many they should do. We're going to ask the group of players who were along the sideline how many they should do. So, let's say the punishment should be 10 push-ups and 10 squats. If these 2 players get there and back and player 1 wins, then player 3 would have to do 10 push-ups and 10 squats. Now, if they both get back and it's tied, these players have to do the 10 push-ups and 10 squats. So that would be the trick and the fun part to this drill. Now this last drill I'm going to show you is we're going to have 2 pylons, one in each of the posts or block. And what we're going to have is, again, red playing defense, blue playing offense. The first 2 players are going to go, and actually they should be switched. That's my fault. They should be switched. Blue is offense, red is defense. And what we're going to do is have player 1 and 4, they're going to be using the pylons. Player 1 can either decide to use this first pylon, and he can sprint past and then back around and up to the elbow or 3-point line or mid-range or whatever, calling for the ball, having his hands up. If he gets that ball, he needs to take that shot. If player 4 is recovering quickly, he can fake that shot and drive, but it's only 2 dribbles and 1 shot. That's all they get. Now, they can also use the second pylon, so they can run through, and if player 4 was able to be close and then get stuck on that pylon, he could have a shot from there. Or, that should never happen, but if it does, it does. Player 1 can run past and back around up the middle, get that ball, and then maybe 1 dribble drive towards the basket. You really want them to be able to experiment with their moves and be able to experiment with trying to get open using 2 simple set screens. I hope that these 3 drills help your team be able to be more laterally quick, but also basically learn how to get open in a box and 1, but also how to defend against screens if you are the one player who is being that man-on guy in that box and 1. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video. If you have, hit that like button and subscribe, and I will see you guys again next time.